Now, a Hinckley photographer has set himself a challenge of documenting the entire county. Paul Hans wants to take as many photos as possible of our picturesque towns and villages, and he joins me now. Paul, morning.
Good morning.
So why have you decided to set yourself this mammoth challenge?
Well, I've been doing a smaller project since 2012 called Hinckley and Burbage Photographed. My supplier, who makes my calendars and jigsaw puzzles for me, he said he's got photography in almost every county, and he operates a scheme so the photographers get their products for less. And he said to me, he says, I need somebody to do Leicestershire. If you don't do it, I'll find somebody that will. So I'm like,
so you had no choice, basically.
No choice. Yeah, I can't let somebody else come in and do this in my area with what I've started with my Hinckley and Burbage Photographed project, with that being in Leicestershire as well. So I was like, okay, let's take it on and see where it goes.
So the gauntlet has been laid down. You've got to get your camera at the ready. So how are you going to manage to do this?
Oh, I don't really know, if I'm honest with you. I'm just running blindly at it. I started in October last year, and I've so far been, I've been all over the county to all manner of different towns and villages. I've done quite a heavy focus at the beginning around northwest Leicestershire. I've done a lot around Ashby-de-la-Zouch, a little village called Blackfordby, and right up as far as to the border. I've been following the borders of the county, so I've been looking outwards almost up towards like Ratcliffe Power Station and places like that, because you can see that from the border of Leicestershire.
So when you turn up to these places, though, I mean, do you kind of instantly know where you're gonna snap, or does that also take some time and some working out as to how you're going to get your perfect shot?
No, there's a multitude of different ways that I'm actually attacking this. The first and the easiest way is I'm creating, while I'm going around to these towns and villages, I'm taking the best work and I'm creating interactive artwork from that, like jigsaw puzzles, things like that. And then what I'm doing is years ago, I'm backtracking a little bit, before I started doing the photography, I've always done like a bit of van driving work, delivery driving and things like that, so I've always done like multi-drop deliveries, but now I'm doing that for myself with my own products, so I've created myself a full-time job as well as making the product. So I'm going out to these towns and villages and delivering my products, but I'm also getting to scout the areas while I'm doing it, so I can then go back to places where I think there's a good photograph. And
what's your favourite spot as a photographer? Where's your favourite place to go and take a photo in the county?
Oh, I particularly love the Charnwood and Melwood districts. I like all of the areas, but and also the Harbour district, because they've just got so many rolling hills, and there's lots of little picturesque villages that give you the chocolate box type of calendar and jigsaw photographs.
Now, the pandemic has hit an awful lot of people, I'm sure. No different from photographers. It's been extremely tough, we know that. What's it been like for you?
It's been the making of me, if I'm honest with you. At first, I lost everything. In the first lockdown last year, I got a full film deal set up with a local rock music school and lots of other commissioned work that was set out for the year, but it all just disappeared overnight because everybody had to close. I didn't really know what to do, so I'd already made a calendar the year before for 2020, which turned out to become the most unused calendar of all time. And I forgot where I'm going with this.
Well, you were telling me that actually it's been the making of you. So we've heard about the things that got cancelled, Paul. But then where does this story go? We need to know the ending.
I had nothing. I had nowhere to go. I had no way of earning money. I'd had a terrible year the previous year, so I couldn't even claim any support from the government, and I just didn't know what to do. So I was like, okay, I've got some photographs, so I started looking through my photographs and started tidying up my archives. And I thought, well, this would make a good picture. I spoke to my suppliers, and they started at that exact time producing jigsaw puzzles. So I thought, okay, well, I'll convert this into a puzzle and see how it goes. And I started advertising it to the local area and people that are already following my projects. Oh my God, it went like a rocket. I couldn't keep up with the demand, especially with the lockdown, because puzzles were going through a huge boom. So I started making more, and I started looking through all my work, and Then I started going out looking for puzzles and doing research on how to make them, and everything just grew from there. And I actually managed to survive. I managed to buy food for the family, and I could pay my bills. When I first got into photography, this is what I've always wanted to do, was to use my artwork. I don't really know. I just wanted to do something with my artwork.
Well, good for you. I'm so pleased. Go on.
Thanks. And I'd always done commercial filmmaking and photography, and I'd done weddings and things like that. But it was really because that's the only way I knew I could earn some money with my camera.
So basically what you're saying is this is, I know your surname's Hand, but it's forced your hand to go and do something differently, look at things differently, and as luck would have it, puzzles is the way with your photography. Paul, just one more before you go. Where can people find out more about this latest project if they want to find out more info about your work?
Well, there's several places. The first place I direct people to is I bought a new URL and set up a huge section on my website, and you can search for Leicestershire Photographed .co.uk, and that will take you straight to my website. But also on Facebook, that's where I'm posting all of the work live as I'm producing it. So you can interact with me and help me choose which ones become puzzles and which ones go into a colouring book or a painting book, or which ones might work in a calendar and things like that. So I'm using the audience around Leicestershire to actually work with me to design the products as well.
Well, Paul, I wish you all the very best. Thank you so much for joining us on BBC Radio Leicester this morning.